By 1933, America was in sorry shape after the whammies of the stock market crash of 29, which led to the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. So this guy, Franklin Roosevelt, gets elected president in 1933, and it is his job to take on the momentous task of pulling America out of the worst financial disaster we've ever experienced. So right away, he gets to work and he sets the precedent that the first 100 days of an American president's presidency is some of the most important time for policymaking. He tells the public on during one of his fireside chats, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. He's trying to make the people unafraid. So after his inauguration, he sought to give impoverished Americans a new deal. They had been handed a terrible deal by the Great Depression. They needed a new one. So all the programs he puts forth are called New Deal programs. Now there's three different types of New Deal programs, and they're called the three R's. First R we need to talk about is relief. All right. Relief measures provided direct payment to people for immediate help. This was a way for the government to put money in people's pockets. If people can spend money, they can use that money to go buy products. Products keep businesses open, which keep people employed. So it's good for everybody. The government's going to go about just employing people directly. So we get the Works Progress Administration. This was a whole government sponsored program to put people to work doing whatever they could think of. Lots of new construction was done with this program. Roads were built, parks were made, paintings were put on sides of buildings. If anybody had some sort of skill, the government found a job for them. So people working, money in their pockets, good for everybody. The second of the three R's is recovery. Recovery programs were designed to bring the nation out of the Depression over time. So an example of this is the Agricultural Adjustment Administration. Now, this is going to sound weird, but this organization actually paid farmers to destroy some of their crops. The less there is of something, the more valuable it is. And overproduction of crops was one of the causes of the Great Depression within the Dust Bowl. So this made crops a little bit more expensive so farmers could get a little bit more money. All right, so that's the government trying to fix a problem. Now, the third of the three R's is reform. Reform means we are going to change any of the things that led to the Great Depression in the first place. All right, in this, for instance, we're going to fix the unsound banking practices. Remember, it was wild investments that kind of launched the stock market crash of 29. And this corporation is still around to this day. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation guarantees that your money isn't going to disappear out from the banks. Remember, the banks had been investing people's cash. You know how you have insurance for your car just in case you have a car accident? FDIC put insurance on your money in the bank just in case the banks mess up with it. So now one of the three R's, but this is under the New Deal programs, and I'm sure you all have one of these. Maybe your parents hid it from you. I don't know. But the Social Security Act gets started as part of the New Deal, and it is still around to this day, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So when people can't work for whatever reason, they need some sort of safety net. One, so they don't go financially unstable because of it. And two, if they're putting money into the businesses keep running. So this is a twofold thing. So this was a program designed for the sick, the old, and the unemployed. Every month they'd get a little bit of cash from the government to spend on what they need. And Social Security, you probably notice this gets taken out of your paycheck every time you get one. This is a tax that everyone has to pay. And everyone has the right to tap into when they are in need of money, having lost a job for whatever reason. So don't lose this card. Make sure you know where it is. So, what's all this mean for us today? The New Deal heavily influenced how people feel about government in their lives. People really wanted to be separate from the government, but now they're like, oh, wow, the government's giving us jobs and money and means to stay alive. This is pretty awesome. So people become more okay with government stepping up and taking care of them to promote the general welfare. If you follow the news, during this coronavirus pandemic, Donald Trump issued a $2 trillion stimulus package. Now, without FDR's legacy, that might not have happened. All right, so that $1,200 your parents are going to be getting, that was inspired by FDR. Now, FDR did a lot to bring America out of the Great Depression, but it wasn't all on him. I wouldn't say this next thing was lucky, but it's something that was necessary to help out. 1939, a dude named Adolf Hitler is going to attack Poland. And then Europe is going to be plunged into the war to end all wars. America doesn't get involved until 1941, but when we do, factories retool what they were doing. They make stuff for the war, guns, cars, planes. And this massive move to make military supplies puts a lot of people to work in factories. So World War II went a long way in ending the Great Depression in the United States. And we'll talk about World War II after the break.